Fall is a cozy season. You think about comfort food and all the richness that the season brings. I'm sharing in this video 3 of the recipes that I've made that bring those fall flavors together and bring that comfort. But if you're like us and your weather hasn't gotten cooler just yet, I have a recipe that has all the perfect fall flavors but still is light enough to enjoy when the weather's a little warmer. Let me show you what I have. Let's get cooking.
One thing I enjoy in the fall are the root vegetables, and I have here a spaghetti squash. Now my son helped me put 4 coals in the squash to prevent exploding in the microwave. He may have gotten a little carried away here as it only needs a few 4 coals, but at least now it won't explode. And the reason I know this is because one time I forgot and it actually did. A chunk came out the back and actually exploded a little bit in the microwave, getting everywhere. So definitely don't forget this step. Now I'm only putting it in the microwave for about 5 minutes to help soften it to make it easier to cut. Now once it's out of the microwave and cool to the touch, I cut it in half, and then I'm going to scoop out the seeds and put it flesh side down on my baking sheet. I'll go ahead and I'll coat it with oil. I'll sprinkle on some sea salt, and then into my 400-degree oven it goes for 30 minutes or until the center part are nice and soft. Out of the oven, I'm going to scrape the insides, all that flesh, out of the squash, and they look like spaghetti noodles, hence the name spaghetti squash. Then I'm going to layer. I'm going to start with this marinara sauce. This brand is from Rao's, but you can use any marinara, any spaghetti sauce, and we're going to add that in the base, in the shell here. About half a cup of sauce, and just enough to get a good layer, and then we're going to add those spaghetti squash flesh noodles on top of the sauce, and I'll continue with the layers, adding more sauce on top of the spaghetti squash, and then more spaghetti squash until it's all used up. And then once everything is layered, I will add the final layer of cheese. I will add some mozzarella cheese that's been shredded, and I'll also add some shredded Parmesan cheese. Once that is all on top, it's ready to go back into the oven for the cheese to melt and the sauce to heat through. All melted and smells amazing. Our spaghetti squash casserole is done. You could easily add ground beef or meatballs to this if you want to make it like spaghetti and meatballs. I've also done another variety where I've done sausage, spinach, tomatoes, and mushrooms, and use that as the stuffing, and use that with Parmesan cheese and just layered that, and that was so delicious as well. And another time I've used the same sausage ingredients but used Alfredo sauce as the sauce, and it was divine. A perfect low-carb substitute for spaghetti and a perfect thing to enjoy this fall. Now we're going to make something that's a little lighter, so if it's still warm where you are, it's refreshing but has all the flavors of fall. We're going to make an autumn harvest salad. I'm starting with my vegetables. I have 1 bag of frozen butternut squash, and I have 1 bag of sweet potatoes that I put here on my air fryer rack. Now I am making 4 times the amount of the recipe because I'm going to be taking this to my monthly event with my soup group ladies. We do soups in the beginning of the year, we do salads in the middle of the year, and then we do our appetizers at the end of the year. And so this is the salad I wanted to bring, and that way to feed everybody I had to do 4 times the recipe, but I'll put the recipe instructions and the measurements below in the description box, which will be just for a normal serving for this salad. So once I pat everything dry, because these were frozen, or you could use fresh, it will be just a little more labor. I like the frozen, everything's chopped and ready. I go ahead and season it with some salt, and I'm going to put it into my air fryer. I'm going to put it on the roast setting, so you could either put this in your oven, or if your air fryer has the roast setting, put it in there for about 15 to 20 minutes. While my sweet potatoes and squash are roasting, I'm going to go ahead and make the dressing for our salad, and I am quadrupling the recipe because of the amount of salad I have. So keep in mind this is 4 times the amount. So instead of 1/4 cup of oil, I'm doing 1 cup of oil, 1/2 cup of brown mustard. You could either do spicy or Dijon. I have Dijon here. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of lemon juice. I'm going to add fresh orange juice. I did squeeze my orange. 1/2 cup of orange juice, so let's add that in here. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. And I'm also going to add 1/2 cup of honey. And I'm also going to add a tablespoon of minced garlic. So let's go ahead and whisk this up. I'm going to add a little salt. Now the base of this salad is pearl couscous. I'm just going to follow the directions on the back of the container, and I'm going to do it for the 4 servings, so 4 times the amount. Once it's done cooking, I cool it under cold water to get it to stop cooking, and now I'm ready to add my other ingredients. 1 1/3 cups of dried cranberries and 1 1/3 cup of chopped pecans. Remember, that's 4 times the amount. Then I'm going to mix that with my couscous, and now I'm ready to add my kale. For my kale, it's 1 large bag that I got from Aldi, and I'm going to add a generous amount of olive oil, and I'm going to massage that all in, add a little bit of sea salt, and just get that all mixed together. And then I'm going to add that to my couscous with my cranberries and pecans. Now this is the perfect salad to put into mason jars and layer. I put the mixed salad at the base, and then I top it with the sweet potatoes and the butternut squash. And then on top of that, I do have these red onions that I sliced and soaked in water to get the bite out of them a little bit. I just top that on the top, and then if anybody doesn't like red onions, they can just take those off before they dump the salad. Now I'm putting my salad dressing into little mason jars, and that'll be perfect to just shake up right before you're about to serve it and pour it all over the top of the salad. So it's the perfect little portion. I'm going to serve these at the party, give them to each of the guests, and let them have 1 salad and 1 dressing, and it's the perfect little thing. Or you can make it in this size and it will keep for days, so you have salad, the autumn salad, to enjoy all week long. Next up, I'm making a traditional fall dinner that is going to be so hearty and delicious, and it's in my crock pot. It is going to be a beef chili. We are going to start with a little oil in the base of my crock pot. Now mine goes on the stove top, so I'm going to saute some onions and green pepper. That's 1 green pepper and 1 small onion chopped. And I'll add about a 1/2 tablespoon of minced garlic. Now I'm going to add my beef. This is ground beef, grass-fed, and this is 80%. I normally get 85%, so this is going to have a little bit more fat in it, which is going to be nice and flavorful. But after I chop this up, I am going to have to strain it, and actually I take a paper towel to it and just let it absorb the excess fat, and that way I can just continue cooking everything and it just soaks that up. So that's such a nice little trick there, to put the paper towel in there. And now I'm going to add my other ingredients. I'm going to add a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, 1 can of that. And then I'm going to add in some of my kidney beans. These are red kidney beans, and I have rinsed and drained them. So that goes in there. And now I'm going to add a pepper. This is a banana pepper from our garden. This is optional. If you like heat, you can add a little jalapeno or any kind of pepper. Just adds another little bit of flavor, but I really like this one. So I chop up that pepper and put it in, and then I'm going to add about 2 cups of beef broth until it about covers all the chili. And then I'm going to put this on my slow cooker. Now normally I would just cook this on the stove, and I would consider this done once it was heated through. But letting this cook on low in your crock pot all day is going to make this so much more flavorful, and that meat is going to break down and add richness and the perfect texture. So I cook it on low for 8 hours, and this is usually why chili at potlucks at offices are such a hit. They can just sit on low all day and get better and better. We enjoyed 2 bowls of this already and have all this left to enjoy. This is the perfect cozy meal. And those are your 3 meals to enjoy this fall. Be sure to let me know your favorite fall foods that you enjoy. Be sure to share in the comments, and I look forward to sharing more, so be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.